Hello and welcome to another episode of The Wealth Within Us. Today I have Adele Michal. She is a manifesting abundance coach for women, and she is going to tell us all, and hopefully me, how to attract all the abundance that we want and deserve, especially as women. So thank you so much, Adele, for taking the time to be with me. I would love to find out your story and how you got here and how you can help us, especially women. And I tend to have a lot of women on my program, so I'm definitely by default focusing on helping women attract abundance, health, and wealth as well.
Well, I think it's great, and I think we need all the help and support we can get because in my estimation, we work really hard. We do so much of the work on this planet, and we are not as well compensated as we should be. And one of the reasons that I think that is that I think we've been culturally conditioned to expect less. So
I agree.
My story is that I have spent a lot of time and effort working out of that mindset. I know for me, as with many women, I didn't ask for what I wanted. I didn't expect to be compensated for what my work was worth, including family. I took care of my elderly mother for 18 years. I was her emotional support, not her daily support. And I was compensated for that. And a lot of women just aren't.
Oh.
Yeah. And so it's been my life work really to understand what we believe, why we believe it, and the effects it has on us. And I have a master's in counseling psychology that I got in graduate school, and I had a wonderful practicum doing talk therapy in the University Counseling Center. And what happened was people would come in, we'd have our session, and I was pretty skilled, I was a graduate student, but I'd studied hard. They would feel better. I would feel worse. They'd go away the next week. They'd have the same problem. And I was like, oh my God, this isn't working. So I did not pursue that as a career right away. I waited until I was a little bit more mature, and I learned hypnotherapy.
Okay.
And in hypnotherapy, you work with the subconscious mind. And the way I was taught was direct hypnotherapy. So going directly to the cause of the problem, not suggestion hypnosis, which can be valuable, but going to the root of the problem.
Okay. I don't think I've ever quite heard it called direct hypnotherapy, but the way that you're describing it completely makes sense. So so now I'm interested in, how does direct hypnotherapy work?
Well, the hypnotherapist gets the client into a relaxed state, and we have access to our subconscious mind really pretty easily if we're relaxed.
Okay.
And so that's great, but the downside of that is that we can just kind of float along. It's like we don't really get anything done. It's like, this feels good. So if you have a hypnotherapist who can say, all right, now we're going to go here, and on the count of 3, you're going to know the cause of this issue, and you go right to it.
Wow. I've done hypnotherapy, but I don't think it's ever been quite that direct.
Yeah.
The term direct.
There are all sorts of different schools of thought, but that's how I was taught. And
so how do you know that you're going direct?
Because you ask.
Okay. So you're activating being in that subconscious mind, and then asking the direct question, which in our subconscious mind is already there.
Exactly. And your conscious mind is relaxed enough so it's letting the subconscious tell you what's going on, actually bringing conscious awareness what's going on.
It's almost like lifting the veil off.
Exactly. Yes. So, and then I use neuro-linguistic programming to repattern.
Okay.
So I don't know if you know, it's called NLP, Neuro-Linguistic Programming.
I've definitely heard of that, yes. And I've heard there's different ways, like through hypnosis to reprogram. I had talked to one that does brain spotting. So it seems like there's so many different modalities, and to me, they all work. I mean, is what I've experienced. So it's just what you're comfortable with as
Exactly.
the practitioner and as the receiver. Me, I'm open to it all.
Yeah, and I encourage people to really just check and see if you feel comfortable working with the practitioner you're working with, because people have all different skill levels and they have resonance with people more. You resonate with some people more than others. So you want to make sure you're trusting the person you're working with, because you're opening yourself up, you're being vulnerable, you're allowing someone to kind of get into a deep part of yourself.
Yeah.
I would say though that I had a colleague who was did not have a whole lot of integrity. And he was trying to force me to, he was doing a session for me. He was trying to force me to think a certain way. I was like, I just popped out of hypnosis. I said, nope, not doing it. And we have this self-defense mechanism.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like your subconscious mind. It's like when you do muscle testing, your subconscious mind knows what's good for you and it knows what's bad. So it sounds like in that moment, your subconscious mind was like, nope, this is not good for you.
I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I want to talk about one aspect of hypnosis and NLP that I find really helpful, and I've heard, I know there's not a lot of other names for it, but I call it parts therapy.
Okay.
So have you heard of that?
I have not. It's parts, PARTS, parts therapy.
Yeah.
Okay. No, that I've not heard of.
Yeah. So I just want to talk about that for a few minutes because it's very valuable. It's like if you've ever referred to your inner child, that's basically parts therapy.
Okay.
But there's always a protector in our subconscious mind, and that's a part. You're not schizophrenic, don't have multiple personality disorder. It's just an aspect of us, and they're all different ages, all different purposes. So the protector often will adapt and adopt a way of being at a young age that doesn't work for us now.
Yeah, that's no longer serving us 5 years down the road, 20, 30, 40 years down the line.
Right. And so one of the things that I've found very effective in my work with my clients is to use parts therapy to find out, let's say you have a dream, you want to build your business in this way. But there's some part of you that's holding you back and you know it, but you don't know what it is. It may be the protector.
And I think that's most of us, because I think most of us, especially like we're taught, work hard and do this and do that, and then you'll achieve this dream. And you're like, well, I did all those things and I'm still not where I want to be. So what is it? What is it? Because clearly it's not in my conscious and completely in my awareness.
Right. So your conscious mind is not so aware of what's in your subconscious, but your subconscious always knows. So if you're in that situation and your hypnotherapist says, all right, well, who's holding you back? Then you can check and see with the help of the hypnotherapist, oh yeah, it's my protector. My protector does not want me to be hurt. It's been protecting me. I mean, when you think about being a child, we're so sensitive and just wide open.
Yes.
And even if we're shy, we're still wide open and receiving all the energy from our family and our school and our religious organ.
And what is it from age 0 to 7? That's like when you're mostly taking things in.
Exactly. Yeah, it's because humans have such a big brain and it takes so long to train them. So we're sponges. We're in the subconscious all the time. So we have no filters. So let's say you're 4 and you got, some kid down the street made fun of you and it set you back. And so you're like, well, I'm going to protect myself. I'm not going to be out there so much. So when you're an adult and you need to promote your business,
okay,
that little 4-year-old protector self is like, no.
Oh, yeah.
No. So in parts therapy, which you do when you're in a relaxed state, a hypnotic trance, and And that sounds way more different than it really is. It's just being relaxed with your critical mind. Then you can say, well, do you want, are you willing to have a different job? Because Michelle is grown up now and she needs to promote herself. She needs to be out there. She needs to be able to take care of herself if somebody's trying to hurt her, but nobody's going to try to hurt her in the way that she felt hurt at 4. And what I've noticed with my clients is as we start cleaning that stuff up and giving the protector a different job, like the protector is going to go, sometimes people say, I'm going to go find opportunities. I'm going to find ways to connect with new people and we'll still be protected. You never want to get rid of that part.
Yeah.
But you want to give it a broader range of behavior, if you will. And
it almost sounds like age appropriate behavior too, because for me as a 4-year-old or a 10-year-old or even a 15-year-old is a lot different than a 30-year-old, a 50-year-old.
Absolutely. And you have different goals and you have different skill sets and different needs. And, you know, I don't know about you, but I'm a lot less sensitive to what other people think of me today than I was when I was 17, you know?
Definitely say that. And gets that. So I don't know if I got rid of my protector or I just don't care anymore. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me as much as it used to, whatever.
Well, I think too, when you realize if you're letting other people stop you from fulfilling your dreams, it's like, what am I doing? No, this does not work. So
it's true, because it's like it's their will that they're trying to impose on you.
Right. And that you might be letting them impose so you be liked.
Yeah. And not always in your best interest.
Exactly. And I believe that most of us are strong enough to stand up and go, yeah, they may not like this, but I like it and I'm going to do this.
Yeah. And I think it's once that stuff is put into our awareness, what I've often found is that if it's not in my awareness, I sort of just keep on this autopilot mode. And once it's in my awareness, I can't be unaware of it now, because now I'll see it over and over again and I'll recognize it even when I'm not listening to it and I'm still aware of it. It's like, oh yeah, I kind of know better.
Exactly. So my experience with clients that have done this kind of work with me is that, they had so much in place. And once they got that cleaned up and all systems moving in the same direction, it's like they just, really took off. There's such a sense of freedom of like, I'm not being held back by this part of me that protects me.
And it's truly like an energetic subconscious roadblock on this path that we really feel like, hey, I'm really moving on this path. This is really where I want to go. And I'm doing all the things that I need to get there. Why is this not happening?
Yeah. I was just noticing for myself recently, I'm going through a lot of change. My mother died in December and I'm doing okay. And she's doing great on the other side, but I've just realized that I don't have a lot of bandwidth to really, be as, what do I want to say is be dynamic and going after things and really going for it the way before that. And I think that'll come back, but I just notice how I'm just kind of resisting things. It's like,
and sometimes maybe it's like we need to heal these other parts of ourselves that either are from the past or something that just happened, that like we need to do that to move on. And with work like you do, we're moving on even stronger. We're moving ahead even stronger. But I often feel like if we don't take that time to heal, if we don't take that time for self-care, it almost just sometimes I feel like spirals out of control. Like all this good that I'm trying to do, because I'm forcing it, like a square peg in a round hole, it almost just like it's the universe telling us, hey, you got to stop, you got to slow down, you got to take care of yourself. And we, especially as women, since our focus is on women, are just we tend to fall in that very easily. No, I have to keep doing this, and this. And you sort of keep trudging forward with your sort of emotions and all these things that you haven't dealt with just left there.
Yeah. Yeah, I totally agree with you. And I was talking to my acupuncturist. We were talking about that last week. And I said, I don't want to circumvent this process. Excuse me. I just want it to seem easier. So felt like I was kind of drowning in a lot of emotions, and he helped me with that. And so, so I'm really watching, am I honoring this process, this grief process? It's grief, and it's also reinvention. And,
yeah, like almost like rebirth, kind of like with every like death, whether it's the like physical loss of someone or an emotional loss or the physical loss of like maybe a business that wasn't working out, whatever the physical loss is, if we don't process that grief, I feel like we just keep moving on, carrying a piece of it. And whatever now, maybe, I mean, we can still build up protectors at this point. So now we're just adding a new layer of protection that maybe isn't going to serve us outside of this short period of time that we needed it for.
I agree. And I was just thinking yesterday, we all have grief from the pandemic,
Yeah, that is very true. I don't think there's anyone, no matter what your side of the fence was, everybody was affected by it in some way, shape, or form.
Exactly. And lost people and lost, jobs or relationships.
And we lost freedoms, and no one's addressing that either. It's like, as a collective whole, we lost a lot of things. We lost freedoms. We lost control over a lot of things. We were forced to do things that we wouldn't normally do.
Yeah.
So I think there was a lot of things.
Yeah. So I think, and so that was a big collective event or series of events. And we have that in our lives too. It's like, there might be some emotions you have to process from a divorce or from, as you said, losing a business or losing a job, and allowing ourselves to do that is good housekeeping.
It really is. It is. And we don't often stop because we're so busy doing that we almost have to write it in our schedule. I need to meditate today. I need to do this self-care thing. I need to, see Adele about my hypnosis or whatever it is. But we do, it's almost like we have to pencil it in.
Well, and I'll tell you, I'm a worker bee. And are you familiar with human design? Have we talked about that?
I am. In fact, I will put a link, but we actually had someone on who did human design on my chart on my podcast.
Great.
Very fascinating. I absolutely love it. So I would love to hear what you have on that as well.
So what is your type?
A manifesting generator, a manifesting generator.
Yeah. Okay. So there are 5 types. Manifesting generator, they're very similar. Manifestor, projector, and reflector.
Okay.
The generator and the manifesting generator are worker bees.
Yes, I tend to very much be.
We love to work. We love to work. We love to work. But when we need some downtime because we're tired or we have some emotions to process, it's really hard. I found it really hard to go, nope.
No, I'll just keep moving forward. That'll pass.
Exactly.
Like, oh, that emotion I've been carrying around for 30 years. Oh, that'll just pass. No worries.
And 50% of the population are generators and manifesting generators together. So, so that means half of your listeners are probably generator types and might find themselves staying in the busy loop rather than the self-care loop or the processing loop. I'm not saying I don't love processing deep emotions. I really don't. Some people
I don't think any of us do.
People are really good at it. I'm not.
And on my journey, I have very much learned that you don't have to relive that trauma, no matter how big or how small it was over. As long as you have that willingness to let it go and release it in whatever way that is for you. I mean, there's just no need.
Well, And thank you for saying that, because neuro-linguistic programming has a specific trauma eraser. I know a lot of modalities do. I've
Mhm.
used that myself for my clients and on myself, and it's really kind of amazing how you can rewire something that was really hard.
It is. And how fast too, and how fast.
Yes. So I'll just say this. I'm taking a course with Michelle Masters, who is an NLP practitioner, teacher, and she also does family constellation. And family constellation is looking at the developmental stages of a child and
Okay.
seeing where they take on like the burdens of their family's emotions, or
Mhm.
feeling responsible because their mom is unhappy, stuff like that.
Which probably then manifests into like that generational sort of mindset or stuckness or whatever you want to call it.
Yeah, yeah. But what she says about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, is that is one tool, and there are many, that we have now the opportunity to rewire our nervous system and our brain that past generations did not, because the brain will not rewire itself. It needs help.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's going to happen on its own. Like we need some kind of either someone like you, or if you're that strong of a person, just reading a book or watching a video or something like
Yes.
that. But yeah, and I think who is it? Is I follow him is Joe Dispenza talks a lot about
Yep.
in fact, he has that show on Gaia, the Rewired, and I've read his book Superhuman as well.
Yeah, he talks too about the field that you,
Hmm.
and when he
Yeah.
doing his week-long workshops, he's creating a different field so that you're processing different energy and you're being supported by different energy. I think that's another thing for us to, just to touch on is, who are you spending time with?
Yeah.
And is your environment something that's enjoyable to you? Or is it, I was talking to a friend today, and she's reworking her home, and she realized she had a painting from her mother of her grandmother's attic. It was just kind of dull and boring. It was like all that family heaviness was in the painting. And so she took it out of her house. It's not going to be in her house anymore. So, paying
Yeah.
attention to your surroundings and the people you're with is really important too, I think.
I 100% agree. If you're either, I always look at it like you're either all rising together or somebody is bringing you down. And I would all rather rise together.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you've got great energy, and
Thank
you know,
you.
pulling together people who are, interested in similar things.
Exactly. And mostly interested in like, how do we get past all this stuff? Because we're all stuck in some way or another. And there's many, many modalities on how to clear it. So I just like talking to people like yourself and bringing people options and choices. And I hate to use the word hope, but it is kind of hope that you don't have to stay stuck and it doesn't have to be as hard as you think it's going to be. So I hope that if I'm bringing that to people out there listening, if I'm bringing that to you, then please just give me a comment and let me know that I am, because I want to bring people more of that.
Yeah, I think it's such a worthy endeavor.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. And it brings me joy too. So if I'm already happy, I mean, like I'm happy just sitting here talking to you and listening to your story and all the things that you do. So that's bringing me joy. I hope it's bringing you joy and anybody else that's listening.
Yeah. Yes. And I think you're right. Hope is so important. And as humans, I read a study that as humans, we expect our situation right now to stay the same. And it doesn't. It always changes. It
Mhm.
always changes. But we get in this mindset of, oh, this terrible thing's never going to change.
Or we think that the change is going to be hard or scary. And it's like, well, it's just, what do they say is that it's like all of your hopes and dreams or whatever are just on the other side of fear. And it
Yeah.
is so true. And I think if we look at so many things in our past and we're like, yeah, that thing wasn't so hard. But we have these things built up in our heads that it's going to be this just epic disaster, like horrible thing, and then you go through whatever it is and you're out on the other side and you're like, yeah, it really wasn't that bad. It's funny how in hindsight things never look nearly as bad as they were most of the time.
True. True. And I think we need to give ourselves grace. I mean, we are in human bodies.
Yes, we are.
And Earth is not a particularly easy school. It's
No, it's not. Whose idea was this? I mean, come on.
I know. At some point when I was really feeling very challenged earlier in my life, I was like, I really should have read that fine print. That was a real mistake. It's like I'm on this cruise.
Yeah.
And some of it's not very much fun. Yeah.
I agree. I guess we don't remember when we got that manual, so
Yeah. Yeah, well, I do think they have the forgetter machine. It's like you're gonna forget who you are.
What was that? What was the one with like Will Smith and they did the thing? They're like, I just erased their memories of whatever just happened. It was just like some wander, something like that.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. So, and I think people who are probably most of your listeners who are into energy and energy medicine and spirituality, we are trying to remember who we are.
I think now more than ever, and that's definitely part of my quest, is like I am on this mission to remember who I was and to get back to where we came from, and basically it's just discovering truth. And I say it all the time. It's like I am a big believer that the truth will set you free. And when we're compacted and our subconscious is filled with lies and things that are not true about who we are, where we come from, what we're capable of doing, it's like we even, I think, consciously feel it, almost like you feel that heaviness and you feel that fear or whatever it is. So like part of my journey, I think, is not only to try to unravel that, but then share that just like yourself in the same path.
Yeah, I have to say it makes me so sad when I talk to really wonderful women who are spiritual, who are, attuned to energy, very intuitive, and they don't have anybody to talk to.
Yeah.
Like, I think that's very hard. So doing
it is
this kind of podcast, and introducing people to all sorts of different ideas and modalities and saying, this is normal.
Yeah.
People are doing this. This is, you may not want to talk to everybody about your intuitive hits, but, hopefully there are a few people you can say, I had this idea. What do you think?
And I think most women are like very good at creating communities and sort of safe places to talk about those kind of things where people aren't going to look like you at you like you're some crazy person.
Yeah, I had lunch with a friend on Saturday, and she said, "Now, I wouldn't tell anybody else but you this," but she was talking about her aunt who had been deceased, and her aunt plays songs on the radio for her. It's like, hey, I'm here. Here's our favorite song. And, I don't know how wild you want to get, but I love that kind of stuff.
Oh, I do too. I think we all love that kind of stuff, whether you'll admit it or not. And I'm fully admitting that I love that kind of stuff. I mean, like you see it all the time. My dad passed just about a year and a half ago now, but yeah, it's like all these little things that happened or numbers you see or things like that that they're just sending you these little signs or nudges, or you see them in your dreams. I always think that it's really powerful when people that have passed appear in your dreams.
Yes. Yes. Yeah. I'm learning a lot about, spirituality through, I have a couple of friends that are psychic mediums. And so, I will get them to do a reading for me. And with my ancestors coming through, especially, ones that didn't really like me that much. So they're like, we're here. We want to help you. I'm like, good. Come on. We got work to do.
Yes. So. I accept your offer.
Yes, exactly.
And that's something else that, is sort of hidden from us as well, is that we do all have the ability to do that. Not that we all want to or should, but just to know that we do all have the capability to do that. And it's just whether you choose to or not.
Yeah, and I do think some people, like athletes, some people are more athletic than others. Some people are
Yes.
more tuned in than others. But I agree. I mean, we're all born with instinct and intuition.
Mhm.
And that's why I really love working with women, is because we have the bicameral brain. It's like there's the connections between both hemispheres of the brain are very strong. And research shows that they're not as strong as men. So I think that's one reason men have a harder time, you know, believing in, you know, fairies or angels or whatever.
Or
But
even the fact that you can heal yourself quickly and easily.
yeah, exactly. So yeah, so that's maybe can I talk just a little bit about manifesting and abundance?
Oh yeah. Well, you
That's
are
what I
a
do.
manifesting abundance coach, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I am looking for abundance to live the life that I have been manifesting for years now. That is still not in front of me. So whatever blocks I have, get them out.
Yeah. Well, I want to talk about manifesting first, because manifesting to me is about bringing the energetic, spiritual aspects, your dreams, desires, inspirations, into physical manifestation. That's all it is. I don't believe that you can sit on a couch and you know, demand that the universe give you what you want. I think we have
I
to
agree.
be involved.
And action, you need to take inspired action.
Yeah, exactly. And before that, you need to set up your mindset so that you believe you're worthy of what your dreams are.
And I think that's the catch for a lot of us, because we've been programmed since we were in that 0 to 7 age to think that we are not, for whatever reason. I mean, TV, movies, teachers, you name it. The system has definitely programmed, I feel, a lot of us subliminally, and not just outright saying you don't do that, but just like subtle things. It's like, even I always look back to old TV shows, and the bad guy or the bad woman was always the one with lots of money or lots of power and all this. And it's like you bring all that stuff in as a kid, and you're like, well, I don't want to be mean. I don't want to do this. And you're like, so then I don't want to be wealthy. And you like, and then you grow up and you probably create this protector that's now protect. Oh, wait a minute. You don't want to be mean. You don't want to be all these things that are stereotypical, that aren't even true most of the time.
That's right. That's right. And I hope that we can start creating new models for that, of really generous, heartfelt, rich people, rich women.
Yes, I am 100% on board, and I would like to be one of them. In
Yeah.
fact, I am going to be one of them. So yes, I accept.
How about this? You am one of them.
I am one of them.
Yes, you are. I mean, already without money, without as much money as you probably want, you're already spreading the wealth.
Yes. And that was like a big deal for me just in naming my podcast, The Wealth Within Us. And one of the reasons I say this all the time is that I loved the word wealth, because it was so subjective, because my wealth isn't going to be the same as your wealth. What's wealthy to me isn't necessarily going to be the same definition for someone else. Like, we all define our own idea of wealth. I love the beach. If you're not a beach person, then being at the beach is not very wealthy feeling for you.
Exactly.
But it is for me.
Yeah. And I hope that we can continue to kind of break out of those stereotypes of, you should be, as a woman, you should be pretty, you should be kind. I mean, nice, not kind, nice. You should be subservient, and you should take care of other people.
Yeah. And I think we are breaking out of those, without a doubt. You can see that we're breaking out of those on many different levels. But I agree with what you said. I think we need to break out of those on like this more spiritual, natural way, not in this sort of harsh, like seems like sometimes it's a very masculine way that we break out of it, but that's not then staying true to our feminine nature.
Right. Right. I feel like that the female behavior, feminine behavior is, so regimented. Like, this is what you're supposed to do. And
Yes.
as we each gain more power, I'm so intrigued about what we're going to do.
I know, me too.
Yeah. So manifesting abundance, and abundance, like you said, your word is wealth. My word is abundance. It's not about all the money you can make. I've just been reading a book by a man who is a very, very successful natural gas trader. So he's made millions and millions of dollars. He has billionaire friends. I mean, I can't even relate. But he talks about, is it your goal to be amassing a lot of money? Which some of his male friends, that is their goal. And by the time they reach a retirement, they're not as healthy. They don't have the relationships with their families, and all they have is a pile of money.
Yeah.
And so, we have to balance it, because I think most women I know, money is not the prime driver. Yes, we want money. We want to be compensated for what we do. I
think money is just the vehicle to get us to those things that we want, because we don't want to worry, do we have enough to do this? Do we want, so we want the money, the wealth or whatever to be there as the driver to do the other things.
Exactly.
But it's not the money itself, like you just said, if you have all this money and you have poor health and, your family's all not around and doesn't like you, what's the point? What's the point of the pile of money?
Exactly. So, I think, some people have said, I don't like the word abundance because it just makes me think of money. Well, no, I'm talking about abundance of resources, abundance of money, abundance of friendships, abundance of romance, or abundance
of clean air, abundance of clean, good, healthy food. Abundance can be, like you just said, anything.
Yeah, it can. And so, I don't know. I guess what I would say is, I think it's really good for us to expand our definition of what wealth or abundance is to us, and not peg
expand and personalize it.
Yeah.
Like we were just saying, like, not only expand it outward so that we can, attract more in, but then personalize it as to what does that really mean to me?
And what do I think I have to do to deserve it?
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, because, I don't know about you, but I think for a long time, I believed I had to work myself into the ground.
Me too. And the other thing that I'm working on right now is that I have this belief that I have to go through this struggle. Like, if I don't go through this struggle, then I'm not going to get the wealth at the end, however I define the wealth. It doesn't even matter at that point how the wealth is defined. I just have to go through this struggle to get it. And it's like, well, who's really creating that struggle? And why do I think that I have to even go through a struggle? Like, those aren't my thoughts.
And look at this. Is that a game that you could actually win?
Yeah, that's true. It's like that struggle is keeping me from the thing.
Yeah. Yeah. And in a way, that's how we avoid having what we want.
Yeah. Or even sometimes going after it. Like, I'm not even going to do that. That's too hard and I'm not going to make it anyway. And I'm just going to give on that dream before we even start.
Yeah.
That's to achieve it.
Yeah. I just, I'm just thrilled with that people are on this journey and on this journey together. And I really appreciate what you're doing.
Oh, well, thank you. So how do you work with your clients then to manifest abundance? Like, is hypnosis a big part of that? Or is it sort of you've got a toolbox?
Well, I have a big toolbox. I've been studying different modalities for 30 years and I kind of combine them. I think for me, I've always wanted to know, where's the problem? How do we resolve the problem? Because I know that if we do that at the right level, then everything else is going to get easier.
Mm.
So how I work with clients, I'm taking I'm taking the summer of 2023 off because I have so much to process. But when I,
Self-care.
yeah, and processing all this grief stuff. When I do work with clients, I do work one-on-one, and part of what I'm ginning up for the fall of 2023 is a group, inexpensive group program to introduce people to different modalities so that they know what they are, they have an experience with them, and they can see if they really want to take that further. And all in the service of giving people tools to create more of what they want in their life.
I
So
love that, because now you're not only exposing to them to that, whatever the modality is, but now you're empowering people like myself to, hey, you can do this on your own. You can work with someone, but hey, these tools exist that we might not have ever, if no one has it. You introduced me to one that I hadn't heard of before, because there's no way that I know everything out there.
I don't either. I mean, I have a list of alternative healing modalities, and it's long.
It is long.
I haven't heard of some of them, but I've experienced ones that I think are really helpful, and I like to share
Yeah, and
that.
whatever resonates with us, because I think no matter what the healing modality is, or, releasing trapped energy, opening the floodgates to abundance or wealth, however you define that, clearing out the clutter, whatever they are, they're going to work. So I was read something. It was like, don't focus so much, just pick one that resonates with you and it's going to work. So I think sometimes I'm very, very much an overthinker. I don't know if that's a manifesting generator thing, but I'm a wicked overthinker. And sometimes I'll do pros and cons and this and that and analyze and what's the, it's like endless. And it's like, no, Michelle, just pick one. It'll work. It'll work.
Yeah. And that is a big way we get in our own way.
Yeah.
It's letting the conscious mind go and the analytical mind go crazy. And we were trained to do that.
Yes. And mine goes
do that
crazy sometimes. Oh my gosh. Like, if there was instead of a debate team, an overthinking team, I would win. I know I would.
Yeah, I could put up some contestants against you.
Yeah.
I think there are a lot of people out there that have that as a major skill set.
I know. What is your skill set? Does that I'll put that on my right. What is your overthinking?
Right.
They're like, oh no, this girl, nope, she's not gonna get anything done during the day. She's gonna spend all her time thinking. She's got lists going on.
Yeah, I think that's a big part. I think that's a big thing for a lot of us to adopt, is that self-trust, because manifesting generator, you have the sacral authority. I don't know if you have emotional authority too, but the sacral, when you get into your body, that's where the subconscious is, in the body, what the right answer is for you.
And I think now that you're talking about that, it makes so much sense to me. And I think even on my own journey, yes, I need to get rid of the fact that I think that there has to be this struggle. But I think the other thing that a lot of people struggle with is trusting our gut, trusting our intuition. And sometimes we're so disconnected that we need to get back in touch with that. Well, what does it feel like when I'm trusting my gut? What does it feel like when I'm following my intuition? And I mean, once we can master that, oh my gosh, everything else just seems like a natural thing. Yep, that's it. Yep, that's it.
Yeah, we're back in our zone.
Yes, exactly.
So could I just share a very simple tool with you and your listeners that
absolutely
anybody could use?
Yes.
So you just mentioned overthinking.
Mm-hmm.
So could we work with that and see if we can help you transform it?
Okay.
So if overthinking were an energy and you could put it in a container on a table in front of you, how big would the container be?
Oh God, it'd probably be what I pictured when you said that? Those balls, and then they got these spidery things coming out, and then you touch it, and that, like, that's what I feel like my brain is with like overthinking. And I feel like I picture it as like, like the entrance to a building, and it's like standing there like all huge, when you go to like a children's center. Yeah, that's kind of how I picture it.
Okay, good. And if you were to touch it, would it be cool or warm to the touch?
I don't know, cool or warm? Maybe slightly heated.
Slightly?
Not hot, but slightly heated. Like I could draw my hand around it, but it would have some heat to it.
Yeah. And what color would it be?
Probably red.
Red? I was seeing red too. Would the texture be, tell me what the texture would be if you touched it.
Like if I touched it, it would be like staticky.
Staticky. And so does it have a sound or vibration?
Maybe like a low hum.
Low hum. Okay. And is it with you all the time, or does it come and go?
I think it's mostly with me, but depending on my flow, it could come and go.
Okay, great. Are you willing for that to be transformed into something?
I am.
Okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to ask your guides and angels
Okay.
to pick up that container, that big container, and it's going to take it to the light. And the light, it's going to transform it. And it's going to come back to you in a better form.
Oh.
Okay, you ready?
Okay.
On the count of 3, it's going to the light. 1, 2, 3. Okay. It's in the light. It's being transformed. It's becoming something even better that will serve you even better. And now it's coming back to you, and it's coming back to sit in front of you, and you can observe it. What do you notice?
I definitely feel like a sense of calm, and it almost feels like my feet are tingling. Okay. And what I'm picturing is like almost like a pearl, like a little small, smooth pearl ball.
Nice. Okay. So I know the color of pearl. If you were to touch it, would it feel like a pearl?
Yeah, it would be like have a smooth, just like glidey texture.
Right. And if you were to incorporate that into your daily life, what support would that be? What would that help you do?
Oh, it would probably help me move through delays that I cause myself.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's how the smooth is, like maybe make things go a little smoother instead of getting tripped up over here.
Yeah. Okay. So is there any
almost
part,
like I feel it like it's like it could be sitting in my gut, like that's my intuition in my gut.
yeah, cool. So is there any part of you that would not want this as your new way of being, having this pearl easing your way? Is there any part of you that doesn't want?
Maybe a few protectors that are hanging on for dear life.
Okay. Well, in that case, it would take a little bit more in-depth work to get them to redefine themselves, basically. And so, but that's something you could do.
It is. But yeah, I totally pictured everything just as you said.
Great.
In my own way. In
your own way. That's right. Because you're brilliant for yourself.
I am brilliant for myself, and I know what I need to heal. Or my subconscious knows what I need to heal. Even the things that I can't see, that I can't express, or that will pop into my conscious mind.
Yeah. So if you were ready to accept that, I'm just going to tell you the rest of the process, but you can do this for yourself. You're going to work with your protectors and find out what they object to and get them on board in the right way for you. And then you're going to anchor in that new state of being. And you do that by counting from 1 to 7. Okay. On the count of 7, I'm going to integrate all of this in to my new way of being. And then you imagine what it's going to be like tomorrow morning, waking up. Okay. All right, let's do it now so people can do it with us. So on the count of 7, my protectors will fully embrace this new way and adjust whatever it is they're doing to love and support this new way of being. Yeah. Okay. And we do that. Then we start 7 to 1. No, we go 1 to 7. Oh, okay. Okay.
Ready for
Okay.
takers? You're changing too.
Okay. And
One.
if they need to have some conversations with you, because you never want to force them,
No.
then you can do that
I'm giving
offline.
them a nudge. I'm giving them a nudge now. And they're like tiptoeing forward. I can feel it. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Integrating completely now.
Yeah. Ooh. I felt it like rise up is what I did.
Nice. Nice. So here's the last part.
Okay.
So imagine waking up in the morning, stretching out between the sheets with this as your new way of being.
I can do that.
Yeah. And now imagine that it's Friday and you've got some fun plans for the weekend. And you look back over the week and you go, oh, I really did do some stuff that I hadn't realized that I would have the energy to do.
And it was so easy.
It was so easy. And now imagine it's a month from today. It's July 5th. It's the day after July 4th. And just imagine what it's been like for a whole month to have this ease just running through your body and your mind and your life and your work and play and your fun and your friends.
And all this abundance and wealth I'm attracting at the same time.
Yeah, feel that. Feel that. What do you notice that's different?
Lighter.
It's lighter. Yeah.
Lighter. And it's almost like a lifting, a little bit of a lifting. Like, not like I'm levitating lifting, but like things are being lifted off.
Yes. Yes. And you may notice that for the next few days as you get into the groove of this.
Yes, I love this. This is great. I appreciate this. Thank you.
Welcome. So I'm going to count from 1 to 5, and on the count of 5, you'll be wide awake, alert, feeling fantastic. 1, coming up slowly. 2, feeling the room more around you. 3, feeling the energy come up from your feet into your legs, coming up your hips, torso, hands, arms, shoulders, neck, and head. 4, feeling clear-headed and alert. 5, eyes open, wide awake, feeling fantastic.
I feel pretty good.
Good. So that's a very simple neuro-linguistic programming. You take the energy of the problem you're dealing with, put it outside of yourself, put it in a container, feel it.
Yeah, send it up to the light.
Send it to the light, let it transform. And when it comes back, you notice what's different and how you want to use it. And if you're ready to integrate it, do that by counting from 1 to 7. And then imagine 3 different future events with this way of being.
Yes. Yeah.
Very simple and very effective.
Oh, I love that. Thank you. And like you said, that's so simple. You could have done that with us. So yeah. So that's super. I love that.
Yeah. And everybody will have their own experience and
and probably their own way of looking at it, their own container, their own way. And I love how personalized it is. It's like, it's totally you.
And it demonstrates the brilliance of your subconscious mind. It knows, and it knows how to resolve it. So
perfect.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, that's amazing. I love that. Well, I hope to have you back. I know I don't want to take up too much more of your time, but it sounds like you have a lot of good stuff coming up in the fall. And you have a website and a newsletter so people can in touch. So I encourage, if you want to talk to us a little bit about that.
Oh, sure. Yeah, as I said, I'm taking the summer of 2023 off, so I'm not doing free consults. But if you would like to know what's coming up in the fall, if you'll get on my newsletter list, adelemichal.com/newsletter, you'll be in the know, and I would love to have you come and play with us.
Yes.
I think we're going to have a really good time and really introduce you to tools that you may have heard of and never tried, or things you've never heard of. It's like, oh my gosh, I'm so fascinated with that.
Yeah.
So,
or maybe a different way to use a tool that you've already used before.
Exactly. And the thing about tools is they work when you use them.
Yeah.
And sometimes we forget.
So true.
So that's part of my goal with this is to remind us, oh yeah, I know how to use affirmations. I'm doing that.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Like I said, once it's in your awareness, then now you have no excuses. But part of that is also bringing these things into our awareness so we even know to use them in the first place. But
Yes.
in the description, I am going to have all of that information so you can sign up. I know I'm going to be on that list. What parting words of wisdom can you help us with manifesting abundance?
I just want to say that you are much more powerful than you think.
Mm.
You are much more supported than you think, and that you are doing a great job being a human on this planet. And we are all evolving, and so are you. Yeah.
Perfect. I love that. Well, thank you so much. Make sure to reach out to Adele and stay tuned for the next episode of The Wealth Within Us. And thank you so much again for your time, Adele. I love that. This was fantastic.
Thank you so much. It was my pleasure.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.